Hello, hello, hello. How are you all today? I am Cara Barker, and today is our next Power Punch session, and we are talking about contagious attitudes. I don't know if that got your attention today, but you think about contagious attitudes. And so today we are being hosted by the Hallelujahs and Hiccups Book Club, as well as my own company, Empowher Consulting. It is a life coaching company specifically for women, but we do also coach men as well as athletes, entrepreneurs, students, the gamut. We also have a new podcast out there every Thursday. Be on the lookout for the Hello Maximizer podcast. That actually will be on Spotify, and it's on Apple Tunes, wherever you can find social media, it's there. It's also, we have a partnership with Good Pods. That's something new, but Hello Maximizer drops every Thursday. All right, so let's talk about attitudes, because I can tell you, attitudes can get you caught up. Good or bad, it can get you caught up. So, according to dictionary.com, the word attitude is defined by the manner, disposition, feeling about a person, place, or thing. In other words, it's about your feelers, right? Your feelers, your mood, your good or your bad mood, your opinion, your perspective, your frame of mind, your tone or the bad tone, your outlook on things. And even if you love your job or your family or your friends, there are times where they're going to really get on your nerves. I mean, let's just be honest. There will be times where you will feel like you're getting hijacked emotionally. On your job, you may be dealing with, irate customers, an irate boss, a supervisor, a coworker. At home, you may have a crazy cousin that likes to pop up all the time. But in essence, there are many things, environmental things, that can really hijack your attitude. And it's often said, though, is that your attitude determines your altitude. And I think that is true. Interesting, and maybe a random fact here. So Mr. Barker and I, we are getting ready to head to Africa. That's why I'm rocking the locks and the braids today. Actually, I rock them all the time, but I just got my hair done. Shout out to Mary, who does my braids here in Dallas. Anyway, I digress. And so we talk about commercial planes, where the pilots often say that their altitude will determine how well they can land the plane. So they look at the relationship of the plane to the ground and how is it horizontally relationship. So if the plane is tilted or it's not properly balanced, then it could cause an accident or a crash, right? And so the altitude of a plane really determines how well the plane can land. Very true with how we process our thinking as well, as our altitude or our attitude impacts the way we think, higher or less as well. So let's think about this. I referenced a little bit ago about our attitude having an impact on how we process things. And you know it would not be Cara style if I did not reference any biblical scriptures. Because, hey, that's what fuels me every single day. So when we think about scriptures, according to God's word, when you become a Christian or a part of our new creation, right, is the development of our new attitudes. And so when you think about ultimately as a Christ follower, your attitude should be modeling of Jesus Christ. Now, I'm not going to read you all the scriptures, but two scripture references for you is Philippians 2:5 and Ephesians 4:22. But for those of you all, that are not really into reading the Bible yet, maybe that be part of your gratitude list for the month. But for those Bible scholars, which includes me, I am not a Bible scholar. Let me make it really plain from the famous lyrics of Ice Cube. Yes, Ice Cube. I am quoting Ice Cube. You better check yourself before you wreck yourself, before it becomes bad to your health. I won't continue the lyrics because it will not be good. But in all reality is, you got to check yourself, friends. Check yourself, queens. Because if you know you're going to enter into a conversation or an interaction that may not go well, you really need to check your attitude at the door. Because depending on how you respond can truly be the detriment of the interaction. It could be truly the detriment of whether you get it or you don't get it. And so it is important that you check yourself before you wreck yourself, because it may be bad for your health. As what Ice Cube said, is so true when you're thinking about wanting a promotion, wanting a new opportunity, wanting to get a loan, wanting to get approved for something. Attitudes will precede you. Your brand and your attitude will precede you. People are known. There are like multiple artists out there right now that people say they will never work with because they have this diva mentality and attitude. It's different when your diva mentality and attitude matches up with your results. But a lot of the times, your diva queen attitude does not match with your results. You may be all this, but you don't have no substance. You got all the accolades, but when you start talking and conversing, it does not connect. So you can't stunt on things when your diva mentality does not match with your results. No, you need to check yourself before you wreck yourself, or you'll be bad for your health. I love it. All right, guys. Oftentimes we discuss engaging in self-care checks, but does your self-check, friends, does it include doing an attitude check? I mean, do you go and we think about, I'm going to go to the spa, I'm going to go get my nails done, I'm going to get all this fun stuff doing, but do you think about, I probably in this season, I need to check my attitude. Instead of checking on, oh, I need to get this, but have you thought about taking the same rigor and checking your attitude? Are you quickly agitated? Does things bother you often? Do you constantly have this scowl on your face when anyone is talking? I mean, half the time people don't want to interact with you because it's your attitude. They don't want to deal with the diva that doesn't have the results. You can be a diva, but you need to have the results too. So just recently, just today, a couple hours ago, I had a conversation with my boss, which I love my boss. And she doesn't watch these because we're not social media connecting friends, but I absolutely love my boss. And not because of our conversation that I'm going to share with you, but I really do love my boss. And so she sent me a note on email. Yesterday many of you all were saw that I was in Texas. Hey, Deshaun. And so we were literally visiting University of Texas. So on my BlackBerry, my work iPhone, I saw come up and say, you just got an award. I'm like, award? What kind of a bonus award did I have? My boss, the one that I love, even though she didn't have to do this, she sent me this really nice, just random award. And I got it and I looked and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've never gotten an award like this before. And so we had a conversation this morning. So she was talking about something totally different. And I wanted to make sure before we got off the conversation, I said, hey, thank you so much for this impact award. I cannot believe. She's like, well, I'm just going to tell you this. There's a lot of things we know you're doing and you are very humble and you do it behind the scenes, but you do it with such a great attitude. What? Yes, it's like a spotlight award. And I'm like, what? Really? She's like, no, you are turning the behaviors on your teams to the positive. The results are getting amazing. We know it's going to take time because you inherited some things from this prior team, but your attitude of excellence, your attitude of being relentless, your attitude towards leadership is phenomenal. And so we want to reward you for that. I completely was like caught off guard. I'm like, God, thank you. Won't you do it? Won't you do it? But the reality of it is that your attitude has an impact on your results. And so this is such a good parallel. So I'm a huge John C. Maxwell fan. I've gone to so many of his coaching events. I've learned a lot of his principles from John C. Maxwell. I'm a John C. Maxwell fan. And I know some people say, well, he's dated, but his stuff is still good. So in his book, Attitude 101, Attitude 101. If you don't have, it's a small book, you can read it in probably half of your day. And so he talks about certain equations that make great teams. And I think this is so important. And it made me think about what my boss just told me today about having a great attitude and also getting the results. Okay. So in the book, Attitude 101, it says, this equation, abilities and attitudes impact your results, okay? So you can have great talent plus a rotten attitude, it's gonna make a bad team. Great talent plus rotten attitudes equal bad teams. Great talent plus bad attitudes equal an average team. Great talent plus average attitudes equal a good team. And great talent plus good attitudes equal a great team. So equate that. It doesn't always have to be about leadership, but thinking about your skills and your abilities to the athletes, because I do a lot of coaching with athletes. And a lot of them have superior talent. I mean, I don't know if they were birthed into this world knowing how to dribble, knowing how to do free throws, knowing how to run like linebackers like they should. I don't know. They have all this skill. But some of them have this, not a diva, but they just think they all that. So their attitude is trash. And so they end up getting to college and they're like, they don't do well is because they had great talent, but their attitude was rotten and what ended up being a bad experience. And so I think about this for you leaders is that don't constantly think about all your skills and talents and your accolades. Do a self-check of your attitude, regardless of you're getting what you want. Maybe you're not getting what you want. Maybe you're trying to get, but do a self-check attitude to ensure that the ultimate impact to your results are not only because your talent and your skills, but also your attitude reflects it. Your attitude will precede you. Your attitude is your brand. We talked about brand before, but your attitude has a way impact on results, right? And so when we think about this, my team that I had that I've inherited, and we are starting to make some changes with this team. And it's actually very exciting to start putting in positive vibes because this team that I inherited never was in Target. When I say never, we literally in October made a historical results. I mean, in all categories. Every single category, our team was hitting on all, and actually we were exceeding from a division standpoint. I share that because one of the things I said to my team was, what can you own? What are you going to change? When do you want to see things better? And so we started to pump in some things about our attitudes. We started about thinking about, well, we're a winning team. We're a winning team. So even though I knew the results were bad, I constantly was telling them, we are winners. We are winners. We have a winner's mindset. We have a winner's mindset. Nobody's going to stop us. We may be small, but we're mighty. And literally every hashtag my team has is like small but mighty. Nobody's stopping us now. Can't touch us now. It's just fun. We're creating an attitude of winning. And you can do that as well. So we say our attitudes are contagious. They are contagious. And you'll be surprised. When you have a great attitude, most people want to be around you. When you have a bad attitude, most people will avoid you. Good attitudes, they want to be around you. Bad attitudes, they will avoid you like you have the plague. They do not want to be around you. Energy is also contagious. You're absolutely right. When you come into a team and you are like, guys, we are ready. We are going to kill it today. I believe in you. We can do this. When the leader does that, everything else is going to follow. I'm telling you, I have led so many teams from the bottom to getting to the top. And it started with me. It started with me having the right mindset. It started with me having the right energy. And it started with me having the right attitude to say, why not us, right? When you start doing that, and that goes to any equation. Why not me? Why not us? Why can't we? So going into anything, a business transaction, say you want to be a singer, you want to be an entrepreneur, whatever. Why not you? Why would you go in saying, I know I can't do this? Don't discredit yourself before you get the credit. Don't discredit yourself. There's lots of things you can do, and it starts in your mindset. Okay? So scientific fact, and this was really interesting. So when I was doing this research for our conversation, I always like to get just some interesting scientific facts because I know we've got a lot of black and white thinkers out here, but I was really curious. So here is a true scientific fact. That your brain automatically imitates the behaviors of people around you. It's called a mirror neuron. Excuse me. You can tell I'm not a scientist. Scientific fact, our brains automatically imitates the behaviors of people around us. It is called the mirror neuron. Therefore, you should surround yourself with positive thinkers and shun those who are negative, that are excessively negative. I have no idea how our brain does that, but we are beautifully and wonderfully made. And I won't put nothing past how our brains think and how they operate. There's something that keeps us separate from animals, is that our thinking and our cognitive abilities. And so you think about it, like-minded kind of people try to attract other like-minded people. And so when I think about thinking of good things and marinate on good things, is that I'm starting to train myself to see the good. I'm starting to think on the good and not gravitate to the negative. But when you think about having an attitude of gratitude, you really have to think about and marinate on the good things. There is so many crazy things out there that will probably derail you, that makes you feel bad, make you feel inadequate. But there's a lot of good things. And so when I'm always coaching individuals, I talk about, okay, let's write down tell me something good. Give me 3 things of something good. And end your day with the 3 things that were something good. Why I do that is that you are training and reconditioning your thought process. And so that you're not automatically going to the negative. But I'm going to tell you guys this. So our attitudes, we say, are contagious. But I truly believe there are 5 strategies. I know you were waiting for it. I know you were waiting for my strategies. I always give you strategies. There are 5 strategies for an effective attitude tune-up. 5 strategies for an effective attitude tune-up. Number 1, stop feeding the monster. You're like, what? Okay, so we just got out of Halloween or Happy Harvest, whatever you want to call it. But number 1, stop feeding the monster. If you don't feed it, it won't continue to live. If you feed it, it won't die. So some people love drama. Some people like negativity. Some people like chaos. They like everything. When you get followed and pulled into the trap, you're feeding the monster. When they say, well, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening, and you continue to play into that crazy game, you're basically feeding and fueling the negativity vibes. So when you stop them in their tracks and like, okay, I'm good, I'm going to go ahead, and you redirect the conversation, you're basically starving the monster. So number 1, don't stop feeding the monster. Number 2, attitude tune-up check is check your dipstick. Okay, we all don't have dipsticks, but we do have a tongue, right? And our tongue gives power, and life is in death of the tongue, right? And so when you are running low in your car, you usually are checking your dipstick to see if you need more oil or whatever. But think about your tongue as being your dipstick, right? And what you're saying, if you're speaking life, you're adding oil to the tank. When you're speaking death, you're taking oil away from your tank. I know that's a crazy analogy, but here's the reality. Number 2, check your dipstick. What are you speaking? What are you saying? What are you thinking? What are you confessing? What are you professing? What's coming out of your mouth? Is it life or death? If it's death, then you're going low on your oil. Because you continue to spew things out and not pouring positive things in, your oil tank is going to be low. I don't know if that's a true analogy, but I think it makes sense to me. Number 3, become more mindful. Practice the art of gratitude. Regularly nurture yourself, becoming mindful of the present state. Where are you in today? Think about all the beauty of that's around you, and not just kind of sit here, but be thinking mindfully what is around in your circumstances. Number 4, remove the weeds or the negative roots in your garden. So if you know me by now, I like to garden. I like to plant flowers. I don't like to receive flowers. So FYI, if you ever gave me flowers, I would say thank you, but because it's gratitude, but I don't really like flowers. They die quickly. But I like to plant things in my garden. But when you think about your attitude and things attracting, removing the weeds or the negative roots in your garden. Unlike physics, where opposites attract, gratitude is something that draws similar people and things together. This month, we are actually getting ready to do Hope for the Holidays for a single mom in Muskogee, Oklahoma. And what we normally do, we do a nice Thanksgiving meal. And we also, generally last year, we did like a whole month of free of gas. We do that because we want to show a sense of gratitude. We want to show love to people that may need it. And so we're getting ready to figure out who the winner is because we have a lot of applicants. But remove the weeds or the negative roots from your garden. And then number 5, you know I'm going to say this because I do have a journal myself, is journal your thoughts. this month, don't just make it November as the month of gratitude and Thanksgiving. Get in the habit of creating a gratitude strategy. Get in the habit of creating a rhythm of gratitude. There may be times when life brings us down. I get it. I've been down. I've been sad. There's been a lot of things, but that won't stop you from standing up again and realizing what's great. And so I know it's very easy to think about the great things in life, and I know it's very easy to think about the bad things probably more, but I want you to reposition your mindset this month and through the remaining of the year. I want you to focus daily on appreciating life and all the things that are happening in life today and throughout today. And here's an easy thing. Just say thank you. That's actually showing gratitude. Saying thank you actually changes the way your attitude. When you say thank you, it's hard to have a crazy face or a crazy mad face and be genuinely showing gratitude and having thanks. So start and say, I thank you for what you've done today. Like I talked to you earlier, my boss who completely surprised me with this random bonus. I'm like, thank you so much. You did not have to do this. This was part of my job. She said, Cara, there are some things that are part of your job, and there are a lot of things that is beyond what you're doing. We know some things is just coming in with an attitude of gratitude has created a wildfire of contagious positive attitudes. And so I share that is that your attitude can actually be contagious, right? So in closing, and I know we're a little over, so in closing, I want you all, yes, you, the one that's looking at the camera right now, is to take time for an attitude check and consider these questions, okay? Here's some questions for you. So if you have a big ink pen, think about these questions. In what areas of your life has your attitude helped you make a significant contribution? So think about it. What areas in your life has your attitude helped you, basically? Number 2, have you found your attitude revealing areas of pride, criticism, bitterness, anger, or resentment? If you're dealing with that, how do you resolve that, right? Because I'm going to tell you, it's not going to go away. If you have pride, if you have criticism, if you're bitter in your anger, you can't wish it away. You got to do some work to get it, to actually unpack why are you feeling these ways. And then last but not least, how can you bless somebody over the season? So thinking about your attitude, maybe it's not a financial blessing. Maybe it's just sending them a DM or sending them an instant message or sending them a text and say, you know what? I see what you're doing. I appreciate you. Thank you for being a light. Thank you for your contributions. Thank you for being a positive voice in this confusing world. So think about your attitudes. You can actually change the trajectory of your life by your mindset. You truly can. And I'm a testament of that. When you start believing you can do it, when you start confessing you can do it, when you start modeling the behaviors of a positive attitude, like I said to you earlier before, great talent plus a good attitude creates great team results. So if you're looking for good results, if you're looking for extraordinary results, if you're looking for superior results, check your attitude first. That could be the thing that's holding you back. It's not your talent. It's not all your accolades. It's not all your skills. It may be your attitude. So guys, thanks again for joining in today. Hopefully you had a nice lunch brunch session with yours truly. I'm going to tell you, tomorrow drops a new podcast called It's Demo Day, kind of talking a little bit about our attitudes. But the new podcast, Hello Maximizer, every Thursday, it drops in there. Tomorrow is called It's Demo Day. So definitely check that out as well. Share it all out in your social media platforms. And then also, we got a book that's coming. I am writing a new book. Yes! It is called Breakthroughs and Bless Yous. It's going to hit the market probably around January, February-ish. But in the meantime, catch me out on the gram, catch me here on Facebook, but definitely tune in every Thursday for the Hello Maximizer podcast hosted by me as well. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. And remember, your attitude is contagious.